All right, welcome back to This Day in Sports History for March the 19th. On this day in 1991, the Sacramento Kings set an NBA record of 29 consecutive road losses. Not something you really want to be known for, losing 29 road games in a row. So a road game is simply a game that you don't play at home. You go to a visiting or the other team's arena and you play there. Now at the time, the head coach was Dick Motta, and they had a couple of famous players such as Wayne Tisdale, Spud Webb, and Mitch Richmond. I do believe Mitch Richmond's jersey hangs in the rafters at the Golden One Center. Now back then they played at Arco Arena, and that particular year they finished 7th in the Western Conference Pacific Division, which may have been dead last, and they had a record of 29-53. And this was kind of a number of years where the Kings were just absolutely terrible. They started as the Rochester Royals from Rochester, New York, back in 1945 in the NBA. They soon became the Cincinnati Royals and then the Kansas City Kings before finally moving to the Sacramento area back in 1985. Now, their first year in Sacramento, they actually made the playoffs in 85-86, but then they went 10 years without going to the playoffs again. They kind of first started getting good around 1998 when they drafted Jason Williams, and we've got some great highlights to show you of Jason Williams. Maybe we can play them right now. He was absolutely spectacular, and they brought in Vlade Divac, and they traded for Chris Webber. So all of a sudden they brought this big influx of talent. They got Peja Stojakovic from Serbia. They got Rick Adelman as their coach. A couple years later, they added Hedo Turkoglu and Doug Christie, and all of a sudden you have what was called the greatest show on court by the time the 2000 and 2001 season came around. In that year, they went 55-27, went to the playoffs. They were beat by the Los Angeles Lakers, and they went to the playoffs for the next several years. If you've ever gone back and looked at old video, those Kings-Utah Jazz games were fantastic. They had great series against the Dallas Mavericks, and even better series against the Los Angeles Lakers. In fact, many people feel those two teams were the two best teams in that 5 to 6 year span, and they had some great matchups. Probably the biggest series was where the one where the Kings lost. So actually, 2 years in a row they lost in Game 7 to the Los Angeles Lakers. But Game 6 of one of those years is pretty infamous. You'd have to look it up. Another notable player they got that year was Mike Bibby, who was really instrumental in he was their point guard and leading the team to the playoffs. And the last time they've been is 2005 and 2006. So that year they made the playoffs, but they weren't satisfied with the results, so they got rid of their general manager, Jeff Petrie, and their head coach, Rick Adelman, and they haven't been back to the playoffs since. So it's been a very long playoff drought for the Sacramento Kings. All right, guys, that is it for today, and we will catch you next time.